Life doesn't wait for you to be calm. It throws challenges when you least expect them. Stress, conflict, and emotional storms can knock us off balance in seconds. But what if you could stay centered no matter what life throws your way? Buddhism offers timeless wisdom to help you respond with peace instead of panic. In this video, we'll explore 10 powerful Buddhist teachings that will train your mind to stay calm in any situation, so you can face life with clarity, strength, and inner stillness. Number 1. Observe, don't absorb. When strong emotions like anger, anxiety, or fear arise, we often get swept away by them. We become the emotion, saying things we regret, acting out of impulse, and losing our peace. In that moment, we aren't responding. We're reacting. Buddhism teaches that we are not our thoughts or emotions. We are the observer behind them. As the Buddha said, just as a solid rock is not shaken by the wind, so the wise are not moved by praise or blame. Instead of identifying with every passing thought, we can learn to witness it without judgment or attachment. Imagine you're sitting by a river. Leaves float by on the water. Some are beautiful. Others are dirty or torn. Now imagine those leaves are your thoughts. Most people jump into the river and chase after the ugly ones, trying to fix or destroy them. But the wise person sits calmly, watching each leaf float by, knowing none of them are truly them. A Buddhist monk once said, "The mind is like the sky. Thoughts are just the weather, passing and temporary." By observing rather than absorbing, you give yourself the power to stay calm and respond from clarity, not chaos. 2. Impermanence. This too shall pass. When we're in pain, emotionally or physically, it feels like it will last forever. In those moments, we forget that life is constantly changing. We cling to the idea that things should stay a certain way, and this resistance only deepens our suffering. Buddhism teaches the principle of anicca, impermanence. Everything that arises will also pass away. As the Buddha said, all conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. Understanding impermanence allows us to let go of attachment and find peace, even in difficult moments. There's a well-known Buddhist story of a king who asked the wise men of his court to create a ring that would make him happy when he was sad. After much thought, they gave him a ring engraved with the words, "This too shall pass." The ring comforted the king in moments of sorrow, but over time he realized its deeper power. It also reminded him not to become too attached during times of joy, because they too would pass. The lesson? Both pain and pleasure are temporary. When you're struggling, remember the moment is not permanent. And when you're happy, be present and grateful, without clinging. By embracing impermanence, you begin to flow with life rather than fight it. And in that flow, calm naturally arises. 3. Let go or be dragged. We often hold on tightly to things that hurt us, grudges, regrets, past mistakes, or people who no longer bring peace. This clinging creates suffering. The tighter we hold on, the more we're pulled into pain, stress, and emotional turmoil. Buddhism teaches that attachment is the root of suffering. True freedom comes from letting go, not of love or compassion, but of expectations, control, and ego. As the Buddha said, attachment leads to suffering. Let go, and you will be free. A Zen master once told a student to imagine holding a burning rope. The fire climbs quickly toward their hand. If they don't let go, they'll be burned. "But it's my rope," the student protests. The master replies, "Exactly, and your attachment is what's hurting you." Another classic Buddhist image is that of a person being dragged by a wild horse. The more they resist and refuse to let go of the reins, the more pain they experience. But the moment they release their grip, they're no longer being pulled and hurt. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing peace over control, healing over pride, and presence over past wounds. Whether it's a thought, a memory, or a relationship, if it's dragging you, it's time to let go. 4. The power of a single breath. In moments of stress, fear, or anger, our minds race and our breathing becomes shallow. We lose touch with the present moment and get pulled into panic, overwhelm, or reactivity. In this state, it's easy to say or do things we later regret. Buddhism emphasizes the breath as a gateway to mindfulness and peace. Returning to the breath is returning to the present moment, where calm can be found. As the Buddha said, "Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I calm my mind." Even a single conscious breath can break the cycle of reactivity and bring us back to stillness. A monk was once asked how he remained so calm in every situation. He smiled and said, "Whenever I feel anger, fear, or confusion arise, I do nothing but breathe. One breath, fully in. One breath, fully out. That is enough." He compared the breath to an anchor in a stormy sea. No matter how wild the waves get, the anchor keeps the ship grounded. Likewise, your breath is your inner anchor. When emotions rise like waves, anchoring your awareness to the breath helps you stay rooted. Try it. Inhale slowly. Feel the air entering your lungs. Exhale fully. Release the tension. That single breath creates a pause, a sacred space between stimulus and response. And in that pause, peace lives. 5. Accept what is, not what should be. Much of our stress doesn't come from what's happening. It comes from our resistance to what's happening. We constantly wish things were different. This shouldn't be happening to me, or life isn't supposed to be like this. That inner struggle against reality creates tension, frustration, and suffering. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises not from events themselves, but from our attachment to how we think things should be. Peace comes from accepting reality as it is, not as we want it to be. As the Buddha said, "Whatever has the nature to arise will also pass away. Accept the present moment with calmness." There's a famous Zen story of a farmer whose horse ran away. His neighbors said, "Such bad luck," he replied. "Maybe." The next day, the horse returned with 3 wild horses. The neighbors said, "How wonderful." He replied again, "Maybe." Later, his son broke his leg trying to tame one of the wild horses. Again, the neighbors said, "How unfortunate." The farmer simply said, "Maybe." Soon after, soldiers came to draft young men for war, but his son was spared due to his injury. The point? Life is unpredictable. When we stop labeling every moment as good or bad and accept what is, we free ourselves from suffering. Acceptance isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It allows us to respond with clarity instead of fighting what we can't control. 6. Don't take things personally. When others criticize, judge, or hurt us, we often internalize it, believing it's a reflection of our worth. We take things personally, which leads to unnecessary pain and frustration. Buddhism teaches that the actions of others are reflections of their own experiences and inner struggles, not a direct judgment of who we are. As the Buddha said, "You will not be punished for your anger, you will be punished by your anger." When we stop taking things personally, we free ourselves from the weight of others' actions. A Zen master once told his student, "If a person offers you a gift and you don't accept it, who owns the gift?" The student replied, "The one who offered it." The master smiled. "Exactly. So if someone offers you anger, criticism, or hatred, and you don't accept it, who owns it?" The student understood. The one who gives it. By not taking it personally, you remain free and unburdened. 7. Silence is strength. In moments of conflict or emotional turbulence, we often feel the need to speak out, defend ourselves, or react immediately. This impulsive need to fill the space with words can escalate situations and increase our stress. Buddhism teaches the power of noble silence, choosing stillness over reaction. In silence, we find clarity and control, allowing us to respond wisely instead of reacting out of emotion. As the Buddha said, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." A Zen master was once challenged by a student who constantly argued with him. The master stayed silent and calm. Frustrated, the student asked, "Why don't you answer me?" The master replied, "When the water is muddy, don't stir it. Let the silence clear it." In silence, the mind becomes still, and the truth becomes clear. By choosing silence, we gain the strength to act with wisdom rather than emotion. 8. See the bigger picture. In moments of struggle or disappointment, it's easy to get lost in the small details and feel overwhelmed. We focus on the current problem, forgetting the vastness of life and the lessons it offers. Buddhism teaches the importance of perspective. By zooming out and seeing the interconnectedness of all things, we can find peace and understanding, even in difficult times. As the Buddha said, "Your work is to discover your world, and then with all your heart, give yourself to it." When we understand that each experience, good or bad, is part of a larger whole, we stop reacting to isolated events and start embracing life's flow. There's a Buddhist parable of a man who was lost in a dense forest. He stumbled, fell, and felt hopeless. But as he rose, he saw the forest from a higher point, a beautiful landscape he never imagined. Sometimes our struggles are like the dense forest, but stepping back allows us to see life's larger pattern and purpose, revealing beauty and wisdom beyond the pain. 9. Respond with compassion. In moments of conflict or when we're faced with unkindness, it's easy to retaliate with anger or defensiveness. This knee-jerk reaction only fuels the negativity, making it harder to break the cycle of pain and misunderstanding. Buddhism teaches that compassion is the antidote to suffering. Responding with compassion rather than anger not only heals the situation, but also frees us from the grip of negative emotions. As the Buddha said, "You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger." When we choose to respond with kindness, we not only help others, but we also cultivate peace within ourselves. There is a story of a monk who was once insulted by a passerby. The monk remained silent and calm while the passerby continued to shout. When a disciple asked the monk how he could remain so composed, the monk replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to accept it, who owns the gift?" The disciple answered, "The one who offered it." The monk smiled and said, "Exactly. In the same way, when someone offers you anger, you don't have to accept it. By responding with compassion, you refuse to hold on to the negativity, breaking the cycle of suffering. 10. Train the mind daily. In times of stress or difficulty, our minds can become scattered, negative, and reactive. We believe that calmness and clarity should come naturally in these moments, but without practice, our thoughts can easily spiral out of control. The truth is, our minds need to be trained just like any other skill. Buddhism teaches that mental discipline is essential to overcoming suffering. Through regular practice, such as meditation and mindfulness, we cultivate a mind that is calm, focused, and resilient. As the Buddha said, "You are what you think. All that you are arises from your thoughts. With your thoughts, you make your world." When we train our minds, we begin to shape our reality. By consistently practicing mindfulness and compassion, we can transform negative patterns into peaceful, clear responses. A Buddhist monk was once asked by a disciple, "How do you remain so calm even in difficult situations?" The monk smiled and replied, "Just as a bamboo tree grows straight and strong, it doesn't happen overnight. It requires years of patience and care. The same is true for the mind. Only through regular practice can you learn to stay rooted and calm. Training the mind daily may take time, but the results are transformative. It's not about achieving perfection, it's about consistent growth. Conclusion. In life, challenges are inevitable, but how we respond to them is what truly matters. By embracing the Buddhist teachings shared in this discussion, we can cultivate a mind that remains calm, grounded, and compassionate, regardless of external circumstances. From practicing mindfulness through the power of breath, to letting go of attachments and seeing the bigger picture, each teaching offers a tool for personal transformation. The wisdom of the Buddha reminds us that peace is not found in the absence of problems, but in our ability to navigate them with clarity, compassion, and a balanced mind. By training the mind daily and responding with compassion rather than anger or fear, we can break free from suffering and live with greater freedom and joy. Ultimately, these teachings guide us to understand that we are not victims of life's circumstances, but empowered creators of our own inner peace. The journey to calmness and serenity is one of consistent practice and patience, and with each step, we align closer to our true nature.